At this time, a year ago, I had no idea that this is where I would be now. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Katie Steckly, and here on my channel, I like to talk all things travel and videography. And today, I want to look back at my year in 2018. It's so hard to believe that it's already time to be making this video. It is getting close to the end of December of 2018, and when I look back, it feels like this year is just kind of a blur. Like, a lot of stuff happened, which I'm going to talk about, but in many ways it feels like when I look back, I'm like, what even happened this year? It went by so quickly. And it's for that exact reason that I love to make year in review videos like this one, because I think it's important to reflect on the past year and to see how far that I've come, and makes you feel a little bit better about where you're at, I think. 2018 was a huge year for me. I got married, I graduated university, I traveled internationally 2 separate times. Man, like, there was a lot, and it's a weird feeling because in a lot of ways not much has changed, but at the same time a lot has changed. So let's take it all the way back to January 2018.
Hey, welcome back to my channel.
I was in school full-time. I was in my final term of university, and starting off in the new year, I kind of took a fresh focus on my YouTube channel and fully dedicated to talking about travel, filmmaking, tech, and creativity, and staying within that niche. I feel like this is my first full year on YouTube of feeling like I have some clarity about the kind of videos that I want to be making, so that was really nice to kind of start off with that intention, and I feel like I have carried it throughout the year. Does that mean that I've been consistent this whole time? No, that's what 2019 will be for. Being in my final term of university, I was feeling very ready to be finished my education, and so at this point I was just trying to work through school and do some freelance projects on the side as I worked towards graduating. February was pretty much the same. I wish that I had more to share about February, but I was trying to write notes on it earlier, and I can't really remember doing anything other than just working on schoolwork. I think by this time we were more actively planning the wedding and that kind of thing, but I don't know, like I went all of January and a lot of February without posting anything to Instagram, so when I look back to try to figure out what I had done, I don't remember. At this point I was posting videos semi-regularly, but not vlogging that much. In March though, something really significant happened. One of my best friends, Katie, and I started a podcast called the Bossy Women Podcast, which is a show that we do interviewing local women entrepreneurs and giving advice and inspiration to aspiring girl bosses. It's funny to look back at it now, just how much doing this podcast has changed my life and given me access to a whole new network of really awesome and inspiring women, because at the time when we started it, I don't think I had any idea how big of an impact that it would have. Katie and I just hung out all the time and always had ideas for businesses to start, and both really appreciated women entrepreneurs, and so then when we had the idea of starting a podcast, because we both love to talk, then it just felt like the perfect opportunity for us, and so we kind of started it without realizing how much of an impact it would have. So yeah, we posted our first episode in March, and it's just gotten bigger and better since then. In April, I finished my undergrad degree. It was such a satisfying feeling to write my last exam alongside Dan. We both actually took German 101 in our final terms at university, and so we took our last exam together, and when we finished, it just felt awesome to come to the end of something that felt like it took a lot of work and a lot of time, but at the same time went by so quickly. Looking back on my university experience, it feels like it just went by in a blur, and I feel like I've grown and changed so much over that time. Starting out in first year, I don't feel like I was a totally different person, but there was definitely a lot of learning for me to do and a lot of growth for me to have to get to where I am now, especially when I look back on videos that I made then. If you ever want to feel better about yourself, just watch my old YouTube videos. Around this time, we also had a really significant episode on the Bossy Women Podcast. We got to interview Estee Lalonde, who is actually from Kitchener-Waterloo originally, if you didn't know, and she was in town, and we got to talk to her for a really special episode, and that was a cool experience because getting to meet people who are in your kind of desired career path and are doing really well at it, it's a cool experience. Around this time as well, we were getting more serious about wedding planning because it it was coming up. But nonetheless, in May, we had time to go on a graduation trip to Puerto Rico. Super exciting. I had a great time, and it really kind of sparked more interest in me in creating travel content, because this was the first time where we went on a trip and I didn't just vlog every day like I did in 2017. Instead, I compiled a lot of footage and then created travel guides and stories out of it once I got home. And so this trip was an experience for me that really demonstrated that this is something that I could do in a more thoughtful and professional way rather than just daily vlogging my travels. So looking back, I feel like it was a really important experience in me starting to figure out what my videography niche was gonna be. It was also just my first time in the Caribbean, or somewhere further south than Florida, so it was really neat. I really had a great time on that trip with Dan and Emily. As we neared the end of May, we were getting super close to the wedding, and so in May, my cousins threw me a surprise bachelorette party, which was super fun.
I have no idea where we're going right now, but my cousins have kidnapped me for my bachelorette-ish party.
It was a great experience hanging out with my cousins who have been like sisters to me since I was a little kid, and it was just such a fun time. I'm really glad that they did that for me, because as you'll realize as we get towards the wedding stuff, like I'm not really into wedding stuff, which is why it generally was pretty low-key and didn't do a ton of extra celebrating and events and stuff like that. So I definitely wouldn't have expected to have a bachelorette party, but I'm really happy that my cousins decided to plan a little weekend away for us. Probably one of my favorite memories of this summer, so it was great. June was a big month for me. Starting at the beginning of the month, I graduated. I had my official University of Waterloo graduation ceremony, so that was super fun. I graduated from my program, which was called English, Rhetoric, Media, and Professional Communications with a specialization in digital media studies and minors in Mennonite studies and peace and conflict studies. If you can say that all in one breath, I'm impressed. Yeah, I don't know. It all went by so quickly that it's hard for me to really be reflective of it, because to me, graduating university didn't feel like a huge accomplishment. It just kind of felt like something that I was, whatever, NBD. But it is pretty cool. Later on in the month, I turned 22, and then I got married. I haven't really talked about the wedding that much on this channel, so I thought today would be a good time to show you some footage and talk a little bit more about the wedding experience. Here is a little sneak peek at the wedding video that our photographer Jackie from Oak and Olive put together for us. to me, but it was just a great day. Yeah, there's something really special about having all of the most important people in your life gathered with you on this day, and I feel like I've always had a little bit of a different approach to the wedding thing, because for me, like years leading up to my wedding, I always knew that I was going to be with Dan long term. For me, it didn't really signify a huge shift in our relationship together, because from very early on, we kind of were in this together forever. That's how we felt about it. So our wedding day, I think, was more of a shift in the way that our community and people in our lives perceive us, in terms of taking us more seriously as, you know, a married official couple. And it was sort of a milestone in our lives together as like, we're adults now, we're going out on our own. So it was really nice for that, and I just had a really fun time. So of course, following our wedding, we moved into our new apartment, which is where I am now. Just before I sat down to film this video, I watched my 2017 year review video, and this is pretty much the point in my mind at the end of 2017 of where everything got very blurry and kind of unknown, because I knew that I was going to graduate and get married, but after that I had no idea where we were going to move or what we were going to be doing, because at that point we were still job searching and figuring things out. So I had no idea then that we were going to end up living here in Kitchener, not too far from where we were in school and super close to family and friends, which I am so glad that that's what we decided to do. Leading up to graduation, we were considering moving away for Dan to pursue his work as a user experience designer, and I was excited about that because obviously I love travel and I really want to see the world, and I do still think at some point I might be interested in living outside of Canada, but these past 6 months living here have been the happiest months of my life, and I feel so fortunate to be so close to family and friends in the community that we have built up around us over the past 4 years. And I just know myself, and I know that I would have been really lonely living somewhere else. So as much as I live in a city that if you're not from around here, you've probably never heard of, and it's maybe not that exciting to people outside of our community, I'm so glad that I live here. We didn't go on a honeymoon immediately after getting married. Instead, we kind of had a unpacking moon moving into our apartment. We spent the month of July just moving in, getting all of our furniture and stuff and settling in to living where we do. And I think that was a really good decision because it gave us a chance just to chill and relax and hang out while we get our lives sorted out. And then at the beginning of August, Dan started his job as a product designer at a local tech company. And that's when I started spending my days 9 to 5 working full time on my freelance business and my YouTube channel. It definitely hasn't been easy working on my business, and there's been a ton of ups and downs in how well I was doing and how much I believed in myself. But at the end of the day, I think I am happier doing what I am now than I ever have been before, and I'm really happy with how far I've come, and I'm really excited to continue working on building my video production business in the new year. So going into the fall, September and October continued that way. It was my first fall not going back to school, which was kind of interesting, but honestly it didn't really set into me that much because I was so busy working on my freelance business, and I still feel that way. I feel like I'm kind of fully absorbed into it, so not being a student anymore hasn't really bothered me, or I haven't really noticed it. But I think part of that is because all through school I was pretty much working on school half of the time and then video stuff the other half of the time, so it doesn't feel that different. At the end of October is when Dan and I kind of finally went on our honeymoon. We belated it by a few months, but it was super fun, and we went to Europe and visited Latvia, Estonia, Finland, and Sweden.
made it to the airport. We're gonna go check in.
Information on your connecting vowel flights. Stockholm A13.
We made it to the top after the climb. Here we are. Look at that view. It's okay. You can't see it that well, so let me show you like this.
Part of the reason why we decided to hit up that eclectic list of countries is because one of my best friends, Emily, was living in Helsinki and we wanted to go visit her while she was there for her school exchange. It was totally worth it because honestly, I don't think if it wasn't for her, I would have ever decided to visit those countries, but I'm so glad that we did because it's a super interesting part of the world and I learned a lot about the history and culture of that area that I never would have known otherwise. It was a big trip for me. It was my second time ever being in Europe and my first time going with Dan, and I think it was a good choice because it was countries that neither of us had been to before, so it was great to experience for the first time together and also get to hang out with Emily while she was over there. After coming back from the trip, I was busier than ever with my freelance work and pursuing YouTube and video production, and November really went by in a blur. I was just kind of going from project to project, trying to stay on top of everything, keeping busy, and after getting back from our trip, I was feeling more inspired and productive than I had in a long time. And I feel like I'm still riding that high in a lot of ways, which is surprising considering it's been a couple months. Coming into December and up to now, I continue to feel super inspired and excited about pursuing my freelance business and about making YouTube videos. Definitely is hard sometimes. I feel down on myself and there's always days of self-doubt, which I'm sure you can relate to. But in general, I've felt like this is something that I really can pursue, and times have come up over the past couple months where I've considered applying to part-time or full-time employment to make things easier on myself and to kind of settle for a consistent income rather than trying to push myself in the business world. But every time those opportunities have come up, it ended up not working out. I applied to a few jobs and nothing ever came through, and I think some people can maybe see that as being really sad or disappointing, but I really felt like it was a sign that I was supposed to continue doing my freelance work, and I still feel that now. Each time one of these jobs wouldn't come through, a couple days later I would get an email and it would be a new client asking about a potential project, and it almost felt like a little tap on the shoulder saying, keep going, like this is what you're supposed to be doing, don't get distracted and feel like you need to prioritize a consistent income over following your dreams. And so even though it's been really hard at times, I feel like I'm leaving 2018 feeling reassured that this is what I'm meant to be doing and I need to keep pursuing it, and I owe it to myself to put in as much time, effort, and energy as I can to make this happen. For the past 2 years now, I've been finishing my YouTube videos saying, I love you all, I hope you're following your dreams, and I feel like only now am I starting to really internalize the message to myself that it is important to follow your dreams and you owe it to yourself to put in as much effort as you can to pursue that. I'm in such a fortunate position where I am able to spend my days working on stuff that I love, and if I didn't take full advantage of that, it would just be a shame. And so that's why I am leaving 2017 feeling encouraged and assured and really excited about continuing to pursue my dream of being a full-time freelance videographer. I mean, I say that it's my dream, that is what I am. That's what I do all the time. So I guess I'm pursuing my dream of making this a more successful and profitable business and continuing to share the message of following your dreams and using your creativity and being confident in yourself to other people online. And so partly because the people painting in the hallway of my building have now started to listen to Christmas music on their phone, and you could probably hear it, I'm gonna have to wrap up the video now. I just really want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching. Every single view, like, and comment that I get on these videos means the world to me. I have kind of been in a cycle of ups and downs around how much my YouTube videos have gained traction with people, but I feel like 2018 has kind of been a year that's taught me that what's most important is creating stuff that you believe in and staying the course, because long term, the important stuff will get noticed. I kind of came to the end of this year finally noticing that some of the videos that I made in early 2017 that were centered around videography and travel are finally starting to get more views, which is super exciting as I continue to pursue this as my niche here on YouTube. So as I continue to put my time into that, it just means a lot when these videos mean something to you. So if you started watching my videos in the last week or the last month, or if you've been here for all of 2018, thank you so much for watching my YouTube videos and taking time out of your day to hear what I have to say. It really means a lot. I hope that you had a productive and encouraging 2018 and that there was something important that happened this year that meant something to you. I would love to hear about it in the comments below, so let me know how your year went down there. And if you're curious what I got up to in 2017 or how much my video quality has improved, then you can check out my 2017 year in review video. I had a lot of fun watching back on it. It is such a throwback. And also make sure that you subscribe while you're at it so that you don't miss any of my videos in 2019, because I can tell you it is going to be a good year. All right, thanks so much for watching. As always, I love you all. I hope you're following your dreams. Really, I seriously do. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.